Thank you. Hello, everybody. Nice to be here. We are going to be doing a letter writing workshop, as you can see. And I do have a giveaway that's happening. It'll end next Monday. So follow me on Twitter at Renaissance Mars. And if you comment your favorite old school car and tag 3 friends, you'll be entered in for a drawing. But I'll show you a picture of that at the very end. Can you guys, is this okay? Okay. The screen is going to be showing the book, and then the next part will be a letter writing workshop. So this is Dear Dad, Love Nelson. Dear Dad, thank you for your letter. I've read it a bunch of times already. When will you be back? If you don't hurry, you're going to miss Dion's birthday and the Juneteenth party. You know Uncle Rodney can't cook like you. Anyway, the only change here since you left is that Cheyenne moved to art school. Before she went, she told me, remember that you are significant. But I don't know what that means. Maybe cool? Now 2 of my favorite people left. Who's next? Mama? Dion can't take care of me. Do you know who's the most significantest person I know? You. Remember when you and me and Dion did cool things together like fix up the old Chevy? Those were the best days. Love Dion. Love Nelson. Dear Dad, yesterday I found some old paint and decided to paint the car, like we talked about. I figured I could do it myself instead of waiting for you. I tried it when Mama was at work, and I was careful with my paint, and I used a significant shade of blue. But Dion bust through the garage door, yelling and threw red paint all over. Then he marched off and said working on the car won't change anything. But I don't care what he says. He's just a hater. Mama came home early and caught us. She said we had to wash the paint off and tell you. So now you know. But I'm not sure when Dion will send his letter. Don't be mad. I'm sure if I could have finished my plan, it would have been significant. Love, Nelson. August 31st. Dear Dad, last time we talked on the phone, you said 12 more sleeps until you go to court. I don't really say sleeps anymore, but I can't believe it's only been 106 since they took you. It feels like over 1,000. I sure hope you'll be back home after you see the judge. Dion's birthday wasn't so good. At his party, some boys from school came by and picked on him. Uncle Rodney took care of them, though, and they ran off. But afterwards, Dion didn't want to open his presents. So instead, I opened a present from Grandma. It's a model Chevy, and it has a significant button that makes a sound like an engine's roar. I put the model car on the dashboard of our real car. Can I get our Chevy to sound like that? You missed the cookout, too, and Uncle Rodney burnt all the food to a crisp. I told you he can't grill. Plus, nobody hollered at each other over cards or dominoes like when you're here. And I miss when I used to sneak out of bed to listen to the music with you and Uncle Rodney. Everybody just ate the nasty food and went home. The house was quiet before it got dark out. Love, Nelson. October 24. Dear Dad, sorry it took so long to write you back. I don't understand why you couldn't come home with us after court. Mama had us count down to the court date when we'd get to see you, but then the judge said we have to wait months before you come back. And why couldn't we talk to you? I almost jumped up when you walked in, but Mama was already holding me. She told us we had to be quiet and sit still. On the way home, Mama and I talked about you missing Thanksgiving and Christmas. I know those are your favorite holidays. She said we'll still go to your mama's house like always. I hope we can come see you before then. What's jail like? Is it kind of like Cheyenne school? I hope you have recess. That's the best part of school. Love, Nelson. December 15. Dear Dad, I told Cheyenne about my car plan because I need help, and she isn't a snitch like Dion. She sent her friend Jamal over, and he's a mechanic. He's been helping me every weekend. The Chevy still can't crank up, though. Jamal said we fixed every part but one thing. He thinks I can finish the job before you get back. But he didn't tell me what was wrong still. Dion said he'd help me finish it, but I don't know. When he helped me with the paint, he just made things worse. But maybe if we fix the car together, it could be our gift to you when you come home. Plus, ever since he started middle school, he's been acting nicer. Maybe the problem is the alternator, or the fuel pump, or the timing belt. Do you have any ideas? When can we visit you in jail? Mama said she didn't know if you wanted us to come. If we do, maybe you can tell me how to fix the car. I just need you to draw me instructions so I can have it ready when you come back. I know you told me working on the car alone is dangerous, but I really want to be able to ride around town with you, listening to old school music like you said we would. I hope it happens soon. Nelson. January 27. Dear Dad, I'm so happy I got to see you. Jail isn't like school like I thought, and it's so far away. I can hardly believe it took us 3 hours to get there. Mama says she doesn't know when we'll be able to visit again because it's such a long drive. One thing that's like school is the metal detectors. Last fall, we found out we had to go through them at Dion's new school. When we came to see you, Mama said not to bring anything, but I tried to sneak in the model car to show you. I didn't say anything during the visit, but the metal detector saw the car and the officers made me throw it away. The officers had as many rules as my teacher. I couldn't bring toys or hug you or even wear my favorite shirt. They said the color would be too close to your shirt. I don't understand what's wrong with matching, but we still have to follow the rules. I don't know how you can sleep in there with all the noisy yelling and knocking. Maybe instead of counting sheep, you count clanks. On the ride home, Dion slept the whole way. I couldn't sleep. My mind just kept thinking. Love, Nelson. March 2nd. Dear Dad, Mama said you'll be home next month for real. We're getting everything ready. The whole neighborhood is so excited that you're getting out. We're going to have a block party. Will you barbecue? Please, don't make us eat Uncle Rodney's food again. And I have some great news for you. Today at the store, Dion whispered something to Mama, and it must have been significant because next thing I knew, we were at the gas station filling up the red gas can. When we got home, Dion helped me pour gas into the Chevy's tank. Mama got the keys, and it roared. We all sat in the car listening to your favorite song, A Change Is Gonna Come. I know we were going to work on the car together, but I wanted to surprise you. And now, as soon as we get home, we don't have to wait. We can just get in the car and drive. Love, Nelson. That's the end. Q&A, any questions? Yes. It's loosely based on my family.
Unfortunately, because it's being live streamed, you have to say it into the microphone.
I said, is it about, okay, I'm Danye, I'm the younger brother, and I said, is it about me?
And I said, it's loosely based on everybody. My brother Danye does love cars, and so that aspect was definitely for him.
Very good. Now, when a person is creative, you could write music, you could be an actor, you could be a dancer. How did you channel your creativity into this format?
Yeah, so I never thought I'd be a writer specifically, but I am an artist. And so when I first wrote this story, I was in a class about writing children's books. And I really can't remember how I honed in on letters specifically when I wrote it. But it was just going through the process of a class assignment, and I really like art, so I was excited about drawing the cars or the paint everywhere. The first draft of the letter was just about painting the car, not really fixing it. And so art has been my avenue of creativity. And so that's kind of how this came about and why I chose this medium, because that's just what felt comfortable with me.
And what do you do as a career outside of writing two books?
What is my career, you guys? I don't know. I have a couple of careers, everybody. I am the Senior Associate of Storytelling at Cities United. It's a nonprofit working to reduce gun violence and homicides for young Black men and boys. I do their storytelling work there, so any post you see on social media or think about how we talk about the work, that's kind of what I'm doing there. I'm also a PhD student. I study developmental psychology, and I am researching how community violence impacts Black youth and families and how parents really help them navigate through that process. I have some children's books out, and I have an art-based company called Made by Margarett. I'm gonna change the name soon, so keep that in mind if you're watching this later. And it's an arts-based company where I do logos or commission work, but I'm hoping to switch to classes soon, so look me up, you guys, later.
And how did this book come to be? Is this something that you submitted, or what is that process like for anybody who might be looking to publish or be published?
Yeah, so I wrote the book in 2015, and so I wrote the original draft, then in 2018, I took a class to try to rework it and edit it. That's when it became a couple of different letters instead of one. And from there, the pandemic hit, and I tried to submit to a bunch of publishers, and I got some no's, I got some nothings, like people just don't respond sometimes. And I also got some, we love the book, but we don't want to write a book about Black kids and trauma, which I understood. The book isn't overtly sad, necessarily. He's a happy kid. So that was maybe, I don't know, 10, 20, you lose count after a while. But then I found my publisher. There's a Twitter pitch competition. I can't remember which one it was because I do a couple of them when I was trying to find a publisher, but it was like hashtag whatever aspects of your book, like if you're a Black author or if it's a children's book, because it was for books for all types of genres. But then just give a little blurb about what your book is, and if a publisher likes it, that means they are inviting you to submit. And so I submitted, and hook, line, and sinker, here I am.
Why letters?
Letters, that's a great question. When somebody's incarcerated, there's a lot of ways to reach out to them. So you could drive all the way like they did that one time, but that has a lot of barriers. You gotta take off work, you gotta have a car, and a lot of other things. When you make phone calls, they could be okay, but I've missed a phone call from somebody in jail and I was so upset. And it also costs a lot after a while. And so I just thought letter writing was a cheaper alternative to just basic communication with somebody, not just incarceration, but anybody, anywhere. And also, it's a time where you can sit and process what you're thinking and really write what you are intending to say. When we talk, a lot of the times we say stuff that we didn't mean, or things slip out. And especially with incarceration, this is a heavy topic, especially for children and parents. And I can't imagine raising a kid and then this happening to my family. So I just thought letter writing was a really nice way to sit and think about your ideas, and also a cheap alternative for people to stay connected.
What do you hope your readers take away from your book, and books, plural?
I want to write stories about kids of color being safe, healthy, and hopeful. If you look up Cities United, that's our slogan there, so it's just comes off the top of my head all the time. But just Nelson is in a world where incarceration exists, and that sucks, but his family is so supportive and they love him, and the community loves the dad. We don't know what he did, but we see everybody still embrace him. He's still a great father no matter what happened. And then my next book, Dominique's Thrifted Treasures, Dominique is living their life and just in a great community. And I just want to write books about kids experiencing a little difficulty, but also being embraced by their community. They're not hurt because of who they are. It's not a book about a Black kid, dealing with racism specifically, or dealing with stuff about their identity, but just finding their way in the world. And so I just want this book and all my books really, to encourage people to connect with their community and family and keep those ties strong, because we really need each other.
Are there any, whether they be picture books or any other books or any other pieces of media, that inspired you or informed your process when writing this book?
Yeah, so in general, I would say the people around me informed me. And also as a researcher, I was doing a master's thesis about incarceration and parenting and reentry in parenting, and just thinking about how this situation for me sucked, but realizing that it happens for a lot of people was really kind of the inspiration. Just the people around me are experiencing it, but also millions of children have at some point had a parent or a cousin, or I'm sure the number is bigger than millions if you stretch out the family, have experienced incarceration. And so that's kind of what informed like some of the things I did. Also, I was a part of the Prison Creative Arts Project at Michigan, which is a program where students go into prisons or reentry facilities and but facilitate arts-based workshops, so visual arts or theater or writing. And so I was a part of that, and that kind of also informed me a bit. I didn't go to the prisons. I did a reentry facility, but we were trained to like not wear a certain type of color or don't bring certain things in, or like how do you move around in that space. And so those people, PCAP and research, kind of informed that for me.
What advice would you have for somebody who might be thinking to themselves, I would like to write a children's book one day, but I don't know how to start, or I don't know. What advice would you have for somebody who has a creative aspiration?
Yeah, I would say just start writing something and finding other people. Like when I wrote the book for myself and for that class, my professor didn't give me feedback. It was like a final. But once I really got into the creative writing class and like talked to other people, we would bounce ideas off of each other, and really, feel like I was really immersed in a community of people who wanted the same kind of thing that I did. And so just starting is number one, and finding the community that is kind of doing that same kind of thing to keep pushing you forward. A lot of the stuff I learned about publishing was through other people who had wanted to be one or was in the process of it as well. And so I wouldn't have gotten here without that kind of support or those connections. Or maybe I would have, but I wouldn't have known what I was doing as much as I do now. I don't think I'm perfect at it, but I'm better than I was in 15 when I first wrote the draft. And so those are the kind of things, like don't wait for it to be perfect, just go for it. See if somebody likes it, and if they don't, whatever, somebody else might. All that matters is that you like it, really, at the end of the day. I would have wrote this book, even if it didn't get published, I would have still been proud of what I made.
Any other questions? Sorry, I sucked it all up.
It's fine. I just have a comment, which is that I really liked how you made Nelson, I don't know, like a real kid who latched onto the word significant, because kids really do that, even when they don't really fully understand it, and they just try to fit it in because they're just enamored with this new thing that they learned.
Yeah.
And yeah, I thought that was a really great touch.
Thank you. It's also a tie to me being a researcher, because people always talk about significant findings. Any other questions? I can move on to the letter
Okay,
writing.
well, thank you so much. Let's do some more clapping.
Thank y'all for attending. So the next stage, if anybody's interested in writing a letter, is to just go through that process. I have some materials over here. Shout out to the library for providing them. We have notebook, note paper, pens, markers, letters, and we have some stamps as well. And on the tables in the back, I have some bookmarks of Dear Dad, Love Nelson, and some car stickers for you guys to take home. So I would say grab your materials if you're ready. Will this part, will we still be recording for people at home? Okay. He said no.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, let's turn this.
Thank you, everyone.